Hey everybody, welcome to the Book Fest Fall 2023. Today we are talking to Parchelle Tashi, creative entrepreneur, educational film director, and founder of The Author's Leverage. And today she's opening the book on 5 ways to get more bang for your book. Now, Parchelle, you know every author's ears just perked up as soon as we said that, right?
I believe it. Yeah, it's. I think most authors and we all are looking for ways to do more with this book. Right? We put it out there. It's published. We've done the hard work, and it connects with that notion of it's just beginning. Right? This journey with this work and this book and its existence in the world.
Yeah, and a lot of authors think that once you publish, that's done. But why are you here to tell us it's just the beginning, like you just said? Why is this just the beginning?
Honestly, it's just the beginning. One of my favorite phrases that I often say is that yes, publishing creates credibility. If you have a
Mhm.
book in place, like you absolutely have that now because you wrote the book on said topic. Publishing creates credibility. Products, however, or experiences, I should say, or would
Yeah,
create more impact and more income. So when we talk about how to get more bang for your book, we're talking about really impact and income and what's possible with your book in the form of experiences that can be online, that they can be experienced, or in person, or what have you. There's so much that is possible when we think about the experience around a book.
yeah. And can you tell us what those 5 ways are to make more bang for your book?
Yeah, absolutely. So these particular ways that I described, they in my viewpoint, in my experience thus far, they really do build on each other. However, depending on what stage you're at in your business and with your book, um, something is going to spark and it's going to make sense. But what I usually often say, the 5 ways are: one, you can use your book and get more bang for your book by using it to build your platform. Right? The content from your book can be repurposed in a number of ways. So, especially when it comes to your online platform and your visibility and being able to connect with more readers, this becomes your next work. The marketing of your book never stops. So, first thing you can do with to get more bang for your book is to build your platform. Second would be to launch a product, launch something that can be digitally accessible and extend the life and experience of your book. Number three, take the stage. That's how you can also get more bang for your book because oftentimes uh, having a book will be the reason why sometimes you might get chosen over other speakers, if there's a conference coming up, right? Things like that. Number four, use your book to create an experience, bring people together, whether virtually or in person. And then fifth is you can use your book to collaborate and work with other experts and be involved with the curation of other experiences that can be created with others that are, maybe in the similar vein as you or in an adjacent, but you can also collaborate with other efforts and others, other experts, if you will, around that topic area of expertise.
I love that. And let's take it back to the first one that you discussed about building the author platform. Say I'm a brand new author and I just wrote my first book. How am I going to start building my author platform? What are the key foundational steps?
Yeah, the key foundational steps is to now be in constant conversation and communication with your audience. And it's really, most of us do that or can do that online through social media and content you can create there to continue to can have that reach. And that can be in so many different formats depending upon your preference and how you like to show up with your content. But it could be as simple as every because this is again it's a continual thing. So let's say every quarter or every month, you recorded yourself just maybe talking or reading from your book or creating some other thoughts or extensions around conversations there. Create social media videos from that. You can create quotes from your book and post those in interesting ways. You can start polls. You can start conversations. You can go live once a week, around some particular focus area. But the point being around building your platform is that oftentimes the opportunities that are available for authors are limited because of your visibility, right? It's difficult to JV partner with someone or to collaborate or put things out there online if you don't have the visibility, right? And you have people that know who you are and want a connection with you. So it's really important to again just build that platform because you're going to help extend your work, right, and be introduced to new readers. Because again, once your book is out, you honestly should start talking about your book every day for the next year, and be prepared to do that if you really want to leverage your book in that way to build your platform. And honestly, again, that becomes foundational, because if you want to go release a product, right, which is number two in this in the 5 ways, having an audience that is excited and and wanting more from you, that those are going to be the audience and the people that are going to give you insight on what that product could be. So you know what I mean, it's all connected. So having a really strong platform is so key, and that's like the first thing I recommend.
Absolutely. I love that you say launching a product, because I think it transcends into nonfiction books and fiction books, because people want to become a part of your brand. So can you talk more about launching those products as well as becoming parts of those brands? Because I think that's really key for a lot of authors, because it opens up a whole new revenue stream, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Launching a product, it accomplishes 2 things. One, for your reader, it's going to allow them to actually begin to integrate and implement what you have learned. If someone's saying that, hey, I want to invest an extra $50 in a product that you have, or $1,000 in a program that you have coming up, or $5,000 to go to an event that you have coming up, right? All of those transactions are your audience, or those people saying that I need your help, and I need it in a container that is outside of this book, or so that way you have more support around getting to your destination, or to whatever your goal is. And that's one of the things too around why launching a product is so key. I just wanted to throw this in there as well, is because people pay for implementation, if you will. People are willing to pay a little bit more so they can be supported to get to that end result faster, because they're not going to be doing it alone. So this is where launching a product and getting creative in that regard can help to, again, create impact for your readers, right? And allow them the space and the environment to take this on in a deeper way. The other benefit, of course, of launching a product is that now you have you can add a 0, if you will, to the revenue potential of your book, right?
Yeah.
And you can do the numbers yourself, do the math, right? If I sell 100 copies of my book, which is pretty average, honestly, for most authors that aren't, leveraging or doing anything else strategic. But let's say that you have, 100 books that you sold in a year, at $20, so that's $2,000 that you're going to get from that. And then who knows, whatever fees are going to come from that, right? Because that's just the book sales alone. But if only 5%, like play that number, if 5% of your readers said that they wanted to get involved in a program or event or some product that you have that's an extension of the book that's going to help them actually integrate this, do the math and see the comparison for yourself. I invite everybody to do that, just to play with those numbers, and you'll really see, like, wow, just by having an extension or an opportunity for someone to go further into this work is going to help them and help me in my business as an author, to extend just my reach and my revenue potential as well. So launching a product is going to do that for you too. It's going to be a win-win in place to, again, support your readers into the next steps of the work that needs to be done, or it can more easily be facilitated. And then also for you reap the rewards of your efforts, you know what I mean? And having something in place that's going to build up your business.
Absolutely. And I know you work with a lot of nonfiction authors, and you create courses, and they're teaching and creating their expertise. And I work with nonfiction authors or fiction authors.
Mm-hmm.
My brain's not working some days. And for us fiction authors, we're creating bookmarks, and we're creating the swag and the T-shirts and the cute things. Like
exactly.
Where's my finger going? Which finger is okay? This one. Like, I have this wooden thing on my wall that I got in a book box, and I don't even know who it belongs to, but only because it's really fast. But the thing is I love it, and I wanted to show it because I really loved their book. But that's that increase in revenue that you talk about.
Exactly.
And I absolutely love that. And one of the things that you talked about was getting on stages for your nonfiction authors. How does those courses with that book create that opportunity for them to get on stages?
Yeah, I would say that it definitely creates the opportunities. But let's say that you get onto a stage, and I just want to be clear too. When I talk about a stage, it can be in front of a small local chamber group. It could be in front of a conference that you've been invited to. It could be on a podcast that you're on. All these are stages, and once you're on stage, right? It's I always liken it to, in the food court at the mall, where they would have the little samples out on the tray, and if you had,
Yeah.
you get a little sample, and then most times you're like, oh, the sample was so good, I want more. I'm going to go ahead and order from here. I was a sample person. I was suckered into it each time, but every time. But this to me is what the stage is like, right? Because even if someone has not met you before, doesn't know who you are, they're getting a taste of what it is that you have to share, to teach, and what message you have. And so this opportunity on stage with them gives this audience a taste of your work going forward. And so we don't want to underestimate these opportunities and using your voice in this way. And once you're on that stage and on that platform, now again, people more than likely are going to want more. And if you have a product, you have something else to extend to them, even if it's your social media where you talk about these topics further, or a Facebook group or another group, you now have a place to take this captive audience and invite them somewhere, invite them to an experience with you. So taking the stage is definitely something for that all, whether you're nonfiction or fiction authors should consider, because to be in continual conversation about your book is hugely important. So conferences, festivals, industry events, find collaborative opportunities, go to networking events with other people. These are where you're going to find these audiences, and you'll find yourself, on a stage, in whatever regard, and be able to leverage that opportunity for more new connections, right? New potential readers, future collaborations, all these things. So I invite everybody to just think about, like, what speaking engagements, what events can you participate in to share your book's message, increase your visibility, think about how you can enhance your public speaking skills, because I know that that's not, always everyone's bag, but find ways that you can be in conversation with them, and, what it would look like to create some sort of a presentation around it. I would even challenge fiction readers to do the same. A lot of times we learn by story. So is there a story or stories from your fiction work that can be applicable in a practical sense? Right. This is where you can start to bridge that gap to where those stories and those pieces can teach and help us to relate to each other.
I agree with you 100%. We're on the stage right now. We're on the Book Festival 2023 stage, and we are leveraging what both of us, I talk and I write fiction books. You talk, you're teaching this opportunity for authors to leverage their books to get more bang for what they do. They do more than just write books. They present opportunities to people. They present sometimes a fiction world, an escapism opportunity. So this is a stage, and you're not only teaching, but you're showing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. So do you have any authors that you can give us examples of that have successfully used their books to elevate their personal and professional brands that people can go Google or look up and go, oh, I want to see how they've done this too? Other than yourself, because I've seen you do it. You guys go and look up Parchelle Tashi and the Author's Leverage, because Parchelle has definitely done it.
I appreciate it. No, I mean, definitely, a few people that come to mind is Curtis L. Jenkins. He wrote a book called Vision to Reality, which was around helping service-based businesses scale to six figures, earn their first six figures. And so he bridged the concept of his book along with a methodology that he taught within it, and that became the experience that we created for him. And so he's been invited on stages. He's been on a number of talk shows, and he's traveling as well, speaking on this topic, and continue to leverage that book as well. I know that for him, he's always just so excited that it's having a complete ecosystem, right? It's like, here's the book and, an on-demand or virtual way to learn it and to incorporate it. So Curtis L. Jenkins is one of our clients. Also, Teresa Powers, want to mention her. She wrote a book called The ABCs of Law School, and it's a nonfiction book that helps first-year law students be successful in their first year. All the things they need to know before they step in the class the first time. So with her book, we were able to, again, create an experience that extended beyond that. And now she's in pre-launch of that and doing really, really well in the success of that. And again, I also want to iterate that, by having these assets, like this is the thing, your book is an asset. If you have a product with it, this is an asset. These, our business can have these assets. And so you can leverage these assets in a number of ways strategically that doesn't necessarily always rely on a big funnel. You have to do a bunch of advertising necessarily to, sell your products. There are a number of ways that you can leverage it. For example, if you have clients in the in a company or organization, oftentimes you can also license your work. You can have a license fee for each person on staff, right? So, and that's just a one-to-one conversation with the prospective client, so putting yourself most times as well as an author, you're a consultant in some cases, or a coach. And so oftentimes you can give the direction and provide value to these organizations, and your product, right, is then in place to support and provide a solution to set needs of that organization or that company. So that's definitely what I would say around just examples of authors. It's like, what was I talking about? Examples of authors. There are so many, and each one has a different iteration, that we've been able to support, whether they have existing communities or they're just starting out. So it's so exciting to see, and I love the work that we get to do in supporting authors in this way.
Yeah, and I see a lot of, nowadays I see a lot of celebrities who have made their mark on the world, and now they're writing books. Mm-hmm. It's like they are going the opposite way because they realize the importance of having a book. And authors are realizing the importance of, like you're teaching now, how your book can create them into that, I don't want to say celebrity status because it freaks a lot of people out, but in a way that is kind of the status, because authority status, there you go, authority status on the topic that they will be speaking on. So I want to go back to the readers, because that's who we want to really hit, right? We want readers, and we want to create this loyal readership base. So can you talk about, in your experience, what role book clubs, reading groups, Q&A sessions play in deepening that bond with our readers? How do we deepen that bond with our readers to create those rabid fans?
Absolutely. I think, to me, this gets into the fourth point of a way you can get more bang for your book, which is creating the experience. That experience can be, oftentimes in the form of a community, and that community gets together, and that can be in a number of ways, whether virtual, book clubs, discussion panels, workshops where you're bringing these community of people together. This is so huge because relationships is everything. It really is. And if you're able to establish that with your readers of any size, and this can be, a group of 10 people up to 1,000 people. It's just you being in conversation around this topic with the people who are benefiting from it, and you are benefiting from it as well, because it's a win-win. And so having community and having a means to be in direct communication and conversation with them is huge. Because the thing is too, they're going to be the ones that probably inspire your next book. They're going to inspire, the next ideas that you come up with, and they're going to be telling you what they need. This is why it's hugely important. If you have a really great and strong and active community, they're going to be the ones that help you understand what they need, and you can help them find it. You can be the resource. You can be the solution to those challenges, and you don't have to be in the guessing of that anymore. When it comes to, okay, I want to make a product, but what should I make? What kind of workshop should I do? If you have a community base, you can just ask that in your community, right? Or get a survey of like what's everyone going on, like what's going on in everyone's space right now, and like how, what kind of questions are you having, what challenges are existing, what's new now, right? Because you might have helped them over the first hump, and we all know that there's another hump after that, and another one after that, and another after that.
And
So
road bumps.
yeah, being in close proximity with these folks is a lifelong journey that you're creating.
Amen. I love that. So I just came back from vacation, and before the night before I left, I went out to eat with my mom and 30 of her friends from the YMCA. We're all sitting down having dinner, and everyone's talking about different things, different stuff going on in their life. And the reason why I brought that up is because what you just said, sitting around having a conversation and talking about the things that they could tell you what your next book would be. That would be great. Having a lunch meeting, sitting down and conversating what is going on in your life, what is happening. Your next book idea is right there. Like you just inspired an idea right now. Like I want to get 30 people I know in my community to have a lunch. Hey, lunch and chat with CJ. And we all go to this restaurant. We all sit around and we just start chatting. And you don't know what you're going to come up with. That's brilliant, Parchelle. I got to find 30 people that I know in the community, but I know 30 of them back in Missouri, and I'm going to go
There you go.
with them again because I'm going back in November. So that's
There
a
you
great.
go.
But the people in those other communities, they have those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love
Just
that.
just being open and being in a place of curiosity around, the people that you're serving and what they need, and what you can do to support them and all that. And most of us, we have that heart. Anybody that I know, all of my clients, anyone who's written a book and gone through that labor has a heart for what they're putting out there. So you therefore will likely have a heart for your readers, and being in connection with them is hugely important.
Yeah. So for someone just beginning their writing journey, because a lot of people, it's hard for them to do what I just said. Had it not been for my mom, I probably wouldn't have sat down with 30 people because, like I said, first time going out of the house in 4 years. So for a lot of people that are a little bit shyer, how do they go out and start finding a way to talk more to people, to get out of their shell, to start gaining readers, so that they can start leveraging that beautiful book because they love writing, they don't know how to connect?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a number of ways that you can do this. I think with your community, with the people that are reading your book and that you're connecting with, you have to find what feels good to you and what feels right to you and how you show up best. And there's a number of mediums to do that. Maybe you just have a newsletter. Maybe you have your own podcast where you just get on and just solo, just express your thoughts around those topics that are going to be supportive to your audience. It's important just to know and just be aware of that. That way there's a win-win between how you like to show up in creating content and then how your audience would best receive it. I think this is also where the fifth way of getting more bang for your book comes into play, because collaborating with experts is really huge. This is the fifth thing, because the path to success as an author, or for any path to success, it doesn't have to be solitary, right? It doesn't have to be just you by yourself. And so oftentimes I find in some of the times when I'm a little bit, maybe not as strong in an area, public speaking or whatever the case is, sometimes being able to share the stage with other people is helpful. So a panel, right? That panel could be made up of other experts that, or other influencers or thought leaders who share the same passion and vision as you, right? You can collaborate in those ways. And these offer really unique opportunity, right? To leverage each other's strengths, each other's reach, and to tap into each other's audiences. So this is where, again, you can really leverage your book. Because imagine if you were going to do let's say you were going to co-lead a webinar with two other authors, the two other experts, and everyone who is on this panel with you, they've done the work. They have really good visibility. They have an active audience. They have a product to offer. They, aren't afraid to take the stage with you. And here they are. right? How impactful is this effort going to be of you teaming up together to reach and spread the message of your books, or the particular theme, or whatever it is? Um, so you can consider in some of those ways, if you are nervous, or if you're concerned about doing it alone, right? There's support out there, and you can really leverage other colleagues and other experts that share a similar passion and vision, and you guys can collectively amplify your message together. So that way, you're not doing it alone, and you can collaborate, and again, just really amplify your reach.
Yeah, strength in numbers. I agree with that 100%. The first stage that I was on, other than the one that I created so that I could talk to people, was a children's book panel here on the Book Fest. And it really helped me get comfortable because everyone on there was children's book authors, and it helped me get comfortable because I didn't want to speak in public, and
Mhm.
also we all were talking about each other's books, and everyone was looking at them that knew them, but then they were like, who are these other people? So that right there is the perfect thing that you said, because that was how I got my start into speaking on more stages than just the one that I created for myself. So I love that you said that. Now, I want to go and I want to talk because you had to get started doing this as well. So, what was your light bulb moment that said, I need to create this platform, this stage to show other people how to leverage their books? Because, I mean, we all start from somewhere, right? I started the orange book up there is my very, very, very first crazy looking. It does, it looks like children drew it, but we all started somewhere. So when you look back on your journey and you creating this dynamic network, um, before you got on stages and before all the other stuff, what was that spark that said, wow, here's these opportunities that people can really create for themselves, and I want to show them?
Hmm. This is a good question. This this ties this ties back to so many things. So my background, I used to be a high school math teacher. I have a background in education. I have a master's in education, and went into the world of videography and went from solo videographer to operating a multi-location production house on the East Coast. And in that time, I've worked with so many different industries and have done a number of projects across the board. And honestly, for me, I consider myself, like most who are probably listening as authors and visionaries, like to be very purpose driven, right? There's things I just have, like there's a purpose driven nature about myself. And so through my journey as an entrepreneur, I am learning how to be an entrepreneur, right, through a lot of programs and online learning. And I'm also um, navigating, finding this purpose, finding this lane. And so I've literally been a part of so many different industries that are random and all over the place, from like logistics and trucking to entertainment
Wow.
to the cannabis industry, and all different kinds of things.
Yeah.
But again, all in search of like, what is my highest contribution to other people? Like that's sort of the answer that that resonates with me, and I often reflect back on that. So it was actually during the pandemic where the spark came for me, and that was when an author had asked about getting some content support around creating a course for her book, and it was going along with the coaching program and things that she had in place. And so took the project on. I had no idea what I was, stepping into, but when I did, I realized that this was the spark. It really was. It combined so many areas for me that really do make up how I best show up, what my highest contribution is to others. And it was this. There was educational content being filmed. Uh, I think that's the key, right? Just that happening, right? Educational pieces that were being filmed. I mean, I've done education pieces in the past, but this was very unique and specific because I could just sense from the author, like just how this was being conveyed and translated into another experience. And I felt so good about the fact that this was going to help and be really, really valuable to other people, as opposed to much of the work I'd done in the past, which was more marketing and sales, training for employee, those
Yeah.
kinds of projects. And so this for me was the spark. And I realized like, this is what I want to support authors in doing, and other experts. My entire life, I've grown up in church and grown up in other arenas where I'm constantly listening to the wisdom of other people. I can catch it. It's like I soak it up, and I want nothing more in my personal journey and experience to help that author, that expert, to do that as easily as possible. And I call it just show up and teach. Right? That's the environment and experience that I want to create for those who have something to share. Is that you can just show up and teach, and all the technical and all the other pieces on the back end are really orchestrating a path and environment for that expert and teacher to show up, be in their flow, teach it, we capture it, and now it's something that lives on for them as an extension of their book or a product or the asset in their business, and of course a number of other things, whether social media or visibility reasons. It all comes together, and that spark happened for me during the pandemic when I was really just like asking, like, there's got to be something different. Like I'm trying all these, like, I mean, I was even working with puppets, CJ. I did puppets. I was doing.
I love that. I gotta see those sometime.
Yes. So, I just am so like fortunate and happy to have had this spark and to be a part of this work, because as a former teacher myself and someone who loves education and wisdom, it's like I feel like that's such a huge key for our world and how we're able to pass on our experiences and our knowledge.
I truly believe that education is the foundation of every single life lesson everywhere. Everything wrong in the world starts with education. Every solution to the world, education. That's just me. So I live off a life principle. My life principle, 2 words, just go. That's what I say all the time. Just go.
Just go.
Just go. I say that, and I love that you said show up and teach, because I think that your show up and teach, my just go, is just phenomenal. I think more people need to have those 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 guttural, for lack of better words, type of mantras that just keep them showing up in life. And when you started speaking about that spark, I really saw your personality, and it was beautiful, because I think that with that, it's really going to show people the passion you have to take that book and help them make it, and to teach them, not do it for them, but teach them on why these 5 principles that you're teaching them right now are so important. And it's just amazing. It really is. So not just readers, but one of the things we're doing right here, right? Networking within the writing community is very important. Can you tell us why it is so important? Because I think that you're going to hit the nail on the head with this one.
About networking and
within author groups and networking, and making those meaningful connections with other authors.
Absolutely. Like we were talking about collaborating with other people. I mean, this journey and of being an author and being an entrepreneur and being a leader, we need each other. We really do. And I personally believe that I'm a huge proponent of networking. I've never been, in all of my years of business since like I started in 2000. I started the journey of being self-employed in 2013. So it's a little over 10 years now that I've been in this. And I have never really advertised a lot. It just wasn't even my thing. I was not super heavy on social media, though, of course, I know it's important. But just some of these arenas, when it came to lead generation and growing a business, I actually did that through networking and just being around and being in those environments where, was open to connecting and finding a way to support another person. And so I find that, and I do believe networking is huge in that regard. That's where you're making really, really solid connections with people, and you're able to determine who is it that I want to connect with, who is my tribe, how can I support other people, how can I support the people in my network. I know that the common phrase is there, your network is your net worth. And that's really been true in my experience as well, is that the more people that you know and you have genuine connection with and that they know you, the better. It feels like a small world oftentimes, but networking in that case is going to really do a whole lot in terms of your reach as well, because, again, being able to collaborate with other influencers who maybe have an audience that you want to reach, that your message could also benefit from, and vice versa, right? And in other words, we don't have all the solutions for all the people, right? As one person, we all need each other. And so there's always different opportunities to collaborate and do that. I would also say that if you're someone who is looking to network a little bit more or extend your network and build your visibility and, grow your presence online and your brand, I highly recommend the effort of a podcast or something similar where you can show up consistently and invite your network, invite other authors onto your show, interview them for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, or whatever topic, you would be of interest, that is a common ground for you. Like, that's also a great way, I guess you can say, as an effort that really pays back, because so many things are happening in that moment, right? You're talking more with someone that you want to connect with. You're creating valuable content together just in your conversation. And you're extending your reach together, right? Because now you're introducing them to your audience and they're being introduced to yours. So there's so much value in just in networking and growing your network, especially and doing it among author groups. So much insight and wisdom comes from other people, right? I'm always learning and, learning from other people's stories and vice versa. So I think it's, networking and growing your base in that way will always benefit.
And I think it's also going to tie into my next question, which is, I think, really important because, and I think you're the right person to answer this, because you said you've been an entrepreneur since 2013. But how do you remain motivated and persistent? Because there's a lot of challenges, especially as writers and authors. The publishing industry continues to change. The journey as an author is up and down. And how do you keep your path moving forward? And like I said, the networking thing definitely falls into this. But what are some other ways to keep motivated and persistent?
Yeah, I think for me, in my experience in keeping moving forward, has honestly been just like a reminder, like different ways that I can remind myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing, what this is about, who this is supporting, who this is helping, and ultimately too, that as I'm starting to realize now, that there's also a joy component to this that I think oftentimes in my experience I would dismiss. I would not see the joy in what I was doing necessarily. It was just, I need to get this done and, what have you, around whatever the effort is. But I guess having those reminders in whatever way that looks for you is so important. And for me, reminders are within my practices. You know what I mean? Like when I wake up in the morning, what am I doing first? And these moments that have just a solidarity, if you will, there, that is powerful and allows just for me within myself to be reminded that, I'm on the right track and I'm being led. That I guess that's for me. It's just like, always been a big person of faith as well, which, I know we all have different experiences with, but I just, I believe in myself. I believe in the people that are around me, and I just make sure that I have reminders in different ways, whether through my practices or in my connections and relationships. Like sometimes my friends have to remind me of who I am and what I'm doing, because I forget. I promise you, at least once a month, I'm ready to throw my business in the trash. That's just my honest reflection there. It just happens. I think it happens to all of us. But to persevere is just to be coming back to those places of practice where you're reminded very often, because we forget, and then having people around that are also going to hold me accountable to that.
Yeah, I love that you said earlier that you work from a place of purpose. And because you work from a place of purpose, you're constantly moving forward. But it doesn't mean that you don't have moments like you said that you want to throw your business in the trash. Because I do the same thing. There's moments where I'm like, I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to write no words. I don't want to do nothing. I'm over it. I quit. And then somebody will call me and be like, haven't seen you posting. What are you doing? Get up.
Yeah.
And that's where that network comes into play. You're absolutely right. I met a lady during this writers conference I just came back from, and she calls it joy mining. And she's writing a whole book about it, and I can't wait to read it. I think it's going to be fabulous. But she says she finds the joy in the little things, and that's her joy mining. And I do a thing where every morning I find one thing to be grateful for, because trust me, there's about 3,000 to be ungrateful for, because there's something going to make me upset. But and then I have it in my group that I run. I have it where it posts every morning at 6 a.m. It says, "Hey everybody, what are you grateful for today?" And sometimes when I'm having a really bad day, I'm just hoping somebody will put something that they're grateful for, so I can go, "Oh," and then I'm grateful for their comment. So you're right. It's sometimes you just got to find something. But I love that you said that sometimes you just will throw it in the trash, because you got to be honest. And the more honest everybody is, and just be raw with yourself, and be okay with not being okay sometimes, we're all going to make it. We really are. And this has been so insightful. I've loved every moment of this conversation. But I want to make sure that I haven't talked the whole time. So we all know CJ gets to go, and sometimes she forgets. If you had any advice that we haven't sat here and chatted about, what would that advice be? If there's some little tidbits, little nuggets, golden nuggets, I want you to make sure that we get those shared before we leave here today.
Yeah. Well, thanks, CJ. One thing I would definitely say is to see your book as the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower is the main attraction, right? But the experiences around the Eiffel Tower are what make the place. You know what I mean? It's the journey, it's the playground around it, and you get to create that. You get to create that, or get some support in creating it. But essentially, people are going to be drawn to your book. They're going to be drawn to you, and once they're there, what else do you have to offer them as an experience? In Paris, right, there's the Eiffel Tower, but then there's the museums, there's the cafes, there's the shops, there's the exhibit, there's the show happening here. All these things happening around it, you get to play around with and determine like what kind of journey and experience do I want to create, because your book is really just the start of that. So that would be my last words of advice. I would say is just to really change the way that you see your book, and to see it as a main attraction for many of other experiences that can come from it that are going to enhance the work, allow it to go deeper in the hearts of your readers, and help you to increase the revenue potential, right? So that way you can continue to invest in more and getting this message out there.
Yeah, love that. Love the Eiffel Tower reference. And I laughed a little bit because I went to Paris, saw the Eiffel Tower, did not go up inside of it. I went to everything around it. Promise you. So that was the greatest story ever right here on the Book Fest Fall 2023, guys. Parchelle, you have been absolutely amazing, like always. Everybody, thank you for participating in the Book Festival 2023, an event brought to you by Books That Make You and the Black Chateau Enterprises. We hope you enjoy the rest of the programming during this free online bookish adventure by Everybody by Parchelle. We'll see you next time.
See you, CJ.